Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to my lecturers and my fellow friends. Okay, my name is Muhammad Nabil RIZQI bin YUSRIZAL. Number metric is 2190458. Okay, today I would like to talk about the effectiveness of ASEAN in managing non-traditional issues. Okay, first of all, I would like to talk about the introduction. So, ASEAN Protection and defense relation has been planned to deal with certain nagging questions concerning current complexities of ASEAN relation and their reactions to different kinds of challenges. The ASEAN member states can then carry up the task of preserving and regional order in Southeast Asia, which in this current situation is a hindrance to move through. In the meantime, stability will still cover a broad variety of topics, including social, cultural, economic, political, and also military topic for Southeast Asia member states. This makes it more difficult and definitely called non-traditional security risk to philosophical context on the threat. So I would like to discuss about ASEAN with their non-conventional challenge, which have been dramatically changed since the Cold War. The defense and security cooperation of ASEAN overcomes this process of loss of protection that may arise if the aims of ASEAN's defense and security cooperation are fulfilled. And security cooperation to I'm sorry. So the next is improve regional collaboration on defense and security then became the only way to minimize risk factors due to the lack of protection. Okay, all right, non-traditional threat. Okay, in Southeast Asia, safety status has changed in several ways to become more complex. The presence of traditional security issues which reminiscent of the fact that state security has influenced various factors which were never discussed earlier make this security complex. A comprehensive security that typically required non-military response to respond to a number of emerging security threats can be seen. Okay, regional dynamics such as the common goal of cooperation and regional management of security undertake non-traditional security challenge. Okay, this is an important problem because non-traditional matters have their own effect on a state's domestic territory. So, this domestic problem is also the true threat to Southeast Asia as a cross-border threat. The increasing number of non-traditional security issues in national affairs describes the trend towards the growing number of debates and emphasizes the issue of non-military security. Also, states or government have always made their own agendas as a new security challenge in direct link with non-traditional issues. It is possible to observe this trend by analyzing the ASEAN's change in non-traditional approach to the problem of terrorism, transborder health, poverty, transnational crimes, natural disaster, security at sea, environmental challenge, piracy, traffic, human trafficking, and also local violence that are reflected in the ASEAN effort. Okay, next, I would like to talk about the ASEAN Defense and Safety Cooperation Dynamics. Okay, deep, deepen regional integration has been developed by ASEAN. So the inclusion of ASEAN members now cover the border area of the concept of ASEAN community, such as economy, social culture, politics, and also defense and security. So national policy and country, uh, national policy and national policy and country perception of threats always reflect the importance of defense and security. The defense and security areas have long been perceived as traditional, not to be negotiated with any other authority. Southeast Asia's expertise still disputes how ASEAN built its cooperation on defense and security. Many of them view ASEAN as an ineffective as an ineffective regional organization, and not least as a comprehensive cooperation between defense and security. However, its engagement in building broad and deeper cooperation is not really influenced by pessimism on ASEAN. Okay, Narin has identified the ASEAN understanding of the region's concept of security. What Narin said is ASEAN defined the comprehensive definition of security. The security was based on political, military, economy, and social factors that interact with each other on all analytical levels. This is what Narin said in 1998. According to Narin, Shoji Tomotaka points out that it is important to point out that ASEAN is not a military alliance. And since its establishment, it has broader security cooperation. Yes, that's what Shoji said in ASEAN Community Peace and Stability in Initiative in 2008. So thus, while five deal with traditional issues in the beginning, the change in the concept of security has already been recognized by ASEAN, and it can be noted on the debate about the community's policy security discourse in ASEAN. The ASEAN Zone of Peace, Freedom and also Neutrality, ZOPRAN, declaration was the first effort to create the collective standard for security in Southeast Asia. In fact, the purpose of Zopran declaration was to avoid the external interference in Cold War, in the Cold War era. So the international dispute settlement work, of Merrills stated that one of the regional organizations' most useful functions is to give its members a consultation and negotiation forum in real and potential situation of conflict. The following leap was made by the ASEAN to initialize and to sign the Southeast Asia on 24 February 1976 in the Treaty of the Amity and Cooperation. So the treaty was aimed to engaging all nations in a peaceful solution to each other's dispute. In addition, ASEAN signed the Treaty of Southeast Asia on 5 December 1995 with the aim of avoiding nuclear weapon disaster. In fact, together with the creation of Zopran, the idea of the SENWFZ, SINWFZ was discussed. SINWFZ is the Treaty of the Southeast Asia. Okay, the three cooperation on security in ASEAN perceive ASEAN as the way its traditional security problem in dealt with. However, in 1994, the ASEAN Regional Forum was created to foster constructive dialogue and consultation of policy and security concern that contribute significantly to effort to build confidence and preventative diplomacy in the Asia Pacific region. Okay, ARF was then the pioneer at the multilateral forum to discuss challenges a new and non-traditional safety in ASEAN Pacific, particularly in Southeast Asia. Okay, following the 1998 financial crisis, ASEAN tried to develop new strategies. ASEAN tried to develop new strategies of for non-traditional security issues such as terrorism, piracy, epidemics, natural disaster, illegal drugs, and what I said before. So, ASEAN saw relevance in future. Thus, the Indonesian proposal for 2003 was proposed by Indonesian for discussing the probability of establishment. As one of the ASEAN community pillars, the ASC then developed into ASEAN political security that covers all the broader spectrum of political issues such as democracy and human rights. Okay, the ASEAN defense cooperation's most significant development is that the 2006 ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting, ADMM, was established. It it facilitates meeting and discussing a variety of security issues in the region by the Minister of Defense of ASEAN. Okay, ASEAN defense cooperation has increased steadily since the launch in 2006, as several facts have been shown. Work is particularly progressing at the significant pace, humanitarian aid and disaster relief. In 2003, the ADMM was appended by inviting non-ASEAN countries. Okay, next is the importance of ASEAN defense and security cooperation. The national and the regional paradox. Okay, it was actually a major player in peace and security. Sorry. And over the last 10 years, it has developed a number of promising regional approach to defense and security policy. Okay, ASEAN defense and security cooperation has now been given a wide range of obligation, including reducing suspicions in countries in the region with confidence building measure, managing an unresolved conflict like a maritime conflict in the Southeast Asia, and guaranteeing peace building in the region from the non-traditional threat to several ASEAN defense and security. So in the what the non-traditional threat to the several ASEAN security is the disco programmer. Okay, however, it can be noted that ASEAN has tried in unique and different ways to strengthen the broader, to strengthen the region security and defense cooperation. So the unique approach to building their cooperation for defense and security was one of its is conflicting ideas with the non-interference standard and different for the ASEAN member state. When you look at the political practice, it is impossible to overlook several serious problems. Despite this position aspect, regional organization such as ASEAN continue to face crucial challenge in the developing world, particularly as a result of the lack of the capacity and political determination, scarcity of resources, and the principle of the non-interference. As regards of ASEAN defense and security cooperation, the ASEAN principle and standards that currently adopted combined with the compete with external powers. Southeastern ASEAN individual state, Southeast Asian individual state, as well as the multilateral efforts focused on ASEAN and are applied in several models of security cooperation. Okay. Instead, ASEAN must continue to confront the paradox with the norms, security and interests, and also identity of each member states that are important in its domestic and regional approaches. For this reason, countries within the region should strengthen their participation in order to achieve the concept of peace and stabilize at national and regional level via the ASEAN road in the context of ASEAN defense and security cooperation. Okay, given this situation, we must uh, we must create this cooperation habits and encourage practical and concrete the cooperation and or strengthen the cooperation to establish regional order and common standards. We must eliminate the sense of confrontation and produce in our neighboring countries and region, so as to promote a cooperative climate with a forward-looking outlook and a sense of precaution. So to be conclude, the Southeast Asia's security environment is influenced by broad and domestic trend in the world. As global force, Southeast Asia frontiers with 7 Northeast Asia. Southeast Asia will have to struggle hard to maintain the regional independence as global. This can be no ignore also the relevance of the historic meeting. The meeting specifically signaled the way in which ASEAN's approach to regional security management is geared to multilateralism. So the success of cooperative security also needs to be taken into account by ASEAN in several aspects, and above all, it needs the belief that ASEAN countries should share the common future, and that cooperation provide and the cooperation provides are the best alternative means of achieving safety. Improving the commitment to all forms of ASEAN defense. Cooperation is part of ASEAN countries' biggest challenge that will surprisingly lead ASEAN to a good standard in addressing non-traditional threat to a region. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.